Welcome to day 28 of SQUATCHMAS. Today we're going to look at a letter written by a John R. Napier to researcher John Green. For those who don't know, John Napier was a British primatologist. He was a physician as well and a paleoanthropologist, and he's known for his work on human and primate hands and feet, and he was considered at the time when he was alive to be a leading authority on primate taxonomy. So Napier was born in 1917 and he died in 1987, so he died at age 70. As shown on Wikipedia, Napier was an orthopedic surgeon at the University of London before being invited by Sir Wilfrid Le Gros Clark to join him in his paleoanthropology research, and Napier then dedicated his life afterward to primatology, being the founder of the Primate Society of Great Britain. Later on, Napier became director of the Primate Biology program at the Smithsonian Institution. After the Patterson-Gimlin film of 1967, October 20th, Napier became quite interested in Sasquatch, Bigfoot, abominable snowman, and the like. Towards the end of this video, I will show a clip of Napier talking about Sasquatch, Bigfoot. But right now, I'd like to share the letter that he wrote to John Green on December 28th, 1967. Like many of the letters that I read here on the Sasquatch archives, this is one that comes from John Green's personal collection, and I feel honored to have had the opportunity to go through Green's collection with his permission, of course, and invitation to do so. A huge thank you goes out to Mr. John Green. May you rest in peace. As you see on your screen, we have the letter from Smithsonian Institution, United States National Museum, Washington, D.C., 20560, December 28, 1967. Mr. John W. Green, Box 152, Harrison Hot Springs, BC, Canada. Dear Mr. Green, I have your letter, and I may say your assumptions were correct in all details. I have always been very intrigued with the snowman Bigfoot stories and have expressed some moderate views on the matter in the past, particularly with reference to the Himalayan snowman footprints. My chief interest, I may say, has been in footprints because I have always felt that my studies in human and non-human locomotion have given me the knowledge to test the significance of prints. You are quite right when you say that nobody has ever studied this material scientifically, and I think I am prepared to do so. The process may take a fair length of time, as I am very heavily engaged here in developing a primate biology program for the Smithsonian. I wonder how we should go about this. Quite obviously, the more casts that I can see, measure, and assess, the more likely we are to come up with some kind of a conclusion. Perhaps you would give the matter some thought if you would like me to go ahead. I do not have too much time myself to trace the owners of casts. Also, any black and white photographs would be of value. Yours sincerely, John R. Napier, Director, Primate Biology Program. Obviously, this letter comes not too soon after the Patterson-Gimlin film of October 20th, 1967. At the very least, this letter from John Napier to John Green, December 28th, 1967, shows a then leading primatologist's interest in the subject of Bigfoot Sasquatch. Napier would go on to author one of the most well-known and recognized books about the subject of Bigfoot Sasquatch, titled Bigfoot, the Yeti, and Sasquatch in Myth and Reality. Napier also does very casually mention Bigfoot in his 1971 book called Roots of Mankind. I'll leave you with a clip from the BBC's documentary called Bigfoot, America's Abominable Snowman, which features John Napier as both the host and partly narrator. And this clip is from July 27th, 1968. So you can see it's about 7 months to the day after this letter was written.
Abominable snowmen. Abominable snowmen, as far as we in the Western world are concerned, live in the Himalayas. But the evidence for their actual existence is pretty unscientific, pretty tenuous. We have footprints, eyewitness accounts, and a few odd and rather doubtful skull caps. The image that's come down to us of the shape of these creatures is rather like this. They're usually depicted as big, hairy, heavily chested creatures with long arms, short legs, rather ape-like in proportions, with a crest on the top of the skull and a big toe that sticks out separately from other toes. It's a surprise for most people to learn that legends of the abominable snowmen and their kind occur all over the world, and including, of all places, North America. Now, perhaps it shouldn't really be a surprise, because wherever you get snowman legends, you get areas of wilderness, particularly mountain wilderness. And mountain wilderness is something that North America has plenty of. The west coast of America is characterized by vast blocks of mountain ranges running generally in a north and southerly direction. They form a barrier between the Great Plains of North America and the orange groves of the Pacific coast. Now, California, to most people, is the sophisticated Sunset Strip from San Francisco to San Diego. But in fact, California's 160,000 square miles is largely uninhabited mountains and deserts. North of California, the state of Oregon is even more of a wilderness. Only 2 million people live in its 100,000 square mile area. Further north still is Washington, a state the size of England. Again, much of it wilderness. Across the 49th parallel into Canada, the wilderness continues, with its spectacular forests, its snow mountains, and its vast waterfalls. This is all Bigfoot country, much of it unexplored and unmapped. When one realizes this country has really only been open to settlers for a little over 100 years, and that most of the population live on the coast and in the fertile valleys of the low coastal mountain ranges, it's not really difficult to accept the possibility that creatures unknown to science could live there in perfect solitude and safety. That the potential for even quite a sizable population of big feet is there, nobody would deny. But of course, this is not any sort of a proof that such creatures exist. Into this wild and empty Bigfoot country has come rather an unusual cowboy leading a rather unusual posse.
Please support this channel by subscribing and leaving comments. Stay well, stay safe. Here's wishing each and every one of you a wonderful holiday season. Merry Squatchmas, everyone!